Thank God it was only two parts to this reunion. It's Lily, and I'm back with another video, and this video is the Housewives of Potomac Season 2, the reunion special part 2. So they pick up from last week, and here we are. We find ourselves with the men of Potomac. They have joined the wives. Juan is the first to be in the hot seat. He said he was very reluctant to come because of he has concerns for his image and his career. Apparently, he has accepted a position as a basketball head coach at a college, and he was just concerned about that. Ray had mentioned that in terms of the house, he really truly wanted to downgrade. And he wanted to downgrade, and he thought, since the kids had moved out and everything, that was the plan. However, Karen had another vision and thought in mind, and he was saying she didn't mention to him that, she was trying to choose a location. She wanted to choose that location or perhaps choose that house in efforts to move her parents in who are elderly and illy. So yeah, he also went ahead and addressed the fact about Sharice saying he's the broke Bill Gates. He said he's made some millions and he's very proud of what he has done. And he said, he grew up poor. He said how they was on a waiting list trying to get into a project. They was on a waiting list to try to move into projects in which they never did get to do so. And he said, the last time he was broke at the age of 17, but he said that's the last time he has been broke. So, yeah, that was to shut Sharice up about saying he was the broke Bill Gates. Chris did mention that he was relatively disappointed in his mother and how she was acting and treating Monique on camera. He says since then she has apologized, but Monique made a point to say, she hasn't apologized to her directly. And Chris said, Monique hasn't picked up the phone. They go on to say that Chris' mother has yet to be at the Potomac house. And Monique said, she's not welcome. And then Chris said, you know what? Yes, she was wrong. And, she apologized. And she still is my mom. And I love her and care about that. So hopefully they are able to eventually get that fixed, because Chris seems like he is very passionate about his family, looking out for them and just them coming together and loving one another. So hopefully her and Monique can eventually come to a resolution. Juan talked about, he said the people took his conversation that he was having with the producers like out of camera sight, took it the wrong way. Juan said him and Robin hasn't had the conversation about, resuming being in a romantic relationship. Andy was asking him, do he regret cheating? And Juan said a statement, let me see my notes here. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move my notes around. Juan said he regret how he handled his marriage, and he said there are two people in the marriage, and he says there's two sides to the story. So what I took from him, he's trying to say that, maybe Robin gave him a reason to step out, or maybe she wasn't the greatest wife, or maybe she didn't, I don't know. But that's what I kind of took from him to say, it's not totally all his fault as to why they were my neighbor's out there nosy, loud as hell. Not nosy, but loud as hell. Noisy. But he said that, where was I at? Really? Are you done? Are you done? They need something to do. Anyway, Juan said his focus, there was two sides to the story, and that he felt like Robin played a role in maybe him cheating. That's what I got out of it. But Juan said his main focus is his career, and he said his family, and if they, they're fine where they are, but if they get together and move forward, that's great. If he says she find love somewhere else with another man, that is great. I guess if he find love, that is great. So that's that. Ashley and Michael. Ashley said, Ashley went ahead and announced that her and Mike have been separated for the past 3 months. She said they decided to live separate just to see where they're at, maybe miss each other, whatnot. Giselle said that kind of break her heart because she felt like out of all the couples that was on the show that, Ashley and Mike was the most in love. Mike said that, don't act concerned now pretty much because he was saying that the girls, have had, a role in, hold on one second, I got to close my window. The window's closed and they still loud. Oh my God, I need the youth today to get some hobbies. But anyway, what was I saying? Michael was saying that the girls kind of, played a role in, the issues of their relationship. He said, coming up to their business, starting drama. He said he really didn't want any of them there. Well, I guess he was referring to Giselle and Robin. He really didn't want them there when Ashley had the little opening event for the bloggers and stuff because he felt they just was negative and they brought negative energy. So Ashley pretty much said that she moved out. She said she's at 50% in terms of getting back together. Mike said he wants to get back together as well, but he, want to get back, but he wants it to be back to where it was before all the drama started. Sharice and the other women were saying they taking it as of he might want to let her go. He did mention that they were at two different points in their life. They are at two different age groups in their life. And and then, Karen went ahead and mentioned that that's what I thought was interesting. Karen had mentioned that her and Ray had a 17-year age difference. So if I'm correct in doing this math, I believe last season Karen celebrated maybe her 52nd birthday. So if she was 52 at that time, let's say hypothetically she had another birthday. So that means she would be 53. And if Ray is 17 years older than her, that means Ray old ass is 70. So they celebrated 20 years of marriage. So at the time they married, Karen was 33 and Ray was 50, if my math could show me right. So that is a huge difference in age. And she ended up having a baby by his old ass too. It's like, yeah. So she was 33 and Ray had to be 50 if this is right. And they're talking about 20 years of marriage. Speaking of, I think they went off with the man. The man was up there enough, but not long enough. So the man depart. And then, Juan was saying he thought they was going to shoot with Mike first since he was the vet of the group. And he was like, no, but you did it. I thought you did a good job. You answered, your questions in a good manner. So it was all this off-site stuff as they moved back into transitions. So in the next segment, Karen, Karen was saying, I guess the situation came up about Karen's breasts again, how they, look small this time around. And then Karen mentioned she had lost weight, and she also mentioned that she have taken her breast implants out. And she said that's the reason, because her weight loss because she lost weight, that was her reason for taking, the implants out. You could just say you took the implants out from the get-go. So Sharice had mentioned that she has filed for divorce. Eddie has moved on. Apparently he has a girlfriend and he's been dating. So yeah, she says she is ready to, get back out there again, date and have fun. So we shall see. But the divorce is moving forward, and Sharice have already filed. And they got on the point of Monique and the baby's party. So apparently, they was estimating that Monique's baby's first birthday party cost about $30,000. Monique said the final cost of the party was actually $25,000. And then Robin said, yeah, that her math was pretty much correct, because Robin said it's about $25,000. So she said, and then Karen said, well, how much you think my party was, Robin? And Robin said, well, what I heard, your party was sponsored. You didn't pay for it. She said, oh, honey, I paid for my party. Yeah. So they also go on to the discussion about the trip and what happened. And he did bring up a good point. He said, what he mentioned. He said, why was it really a big deal to have a host? Why couldn't it just been, go on a trip and have fun? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, forget this, host this and host that. I mean, I have been on trips when it's collaborative girls trips, and something we all have done, not necessarily host a trip, but we all picked like one activity while we was on a trip for all of us to do. I went to Puerto Rico about 2 years ago, and everybody, had to pick like one activity or one thing they would like to do. Well, not all of us did it, but like one of the girls out the group, she wanted to go sit down and have authentic Puerto Rican dinner. So we done that. One girl wanted to salsa dance, so we ended up doing salsa dancing. And I had did the research because, as you know, the alcohol Bacardi factory is located in the Bahamas, where they make the Bacardi. So, and they do tours, and they give drink samples, and they have a Bacardi store. You can, sell all, purchase items and stuff. So that was my thing. So we pretty much, and then one wanted to go to the mall. So we all kind of like brought to the table an activity, something to do, while we was there, and it worked out pretty nice. So that's why I say you really don't need a host. Just if maybe have everybody bring one activity to the table they would like to do. So yeah, that was a segment in the show. Speaking of trip, they as you know that Karen, when she was off camera, but her mic was still hot, she was telling about she had pictures of Sharice and this so-called fireman. And then, Sharice said, well, if you got pictures, bring them out. Where they at? Bring them out. And Karen said, no, I would never do that to you. But she said, I would like to see these pics. And then Sharice said, well, you're over here talking about me and this damn fireman. What about you and this, but this dude that you supposed to be dating is Blue Eyes. And apparently, I guess there was allegedly saying that Karen had a security guard and / driver, and he supposed to have been somebody she was messing with or dating. And then Karen's talking about she is allowed to have eye candy. And then everybody said they did meet Blue Eyes, who was working. Say actually he's cute, a little older, but yeah, he's apparently has been working security for Karen. So, but she said that the only guy she was screwing is Ray. Yeah. Anyway, so Monique and Giselle said they are good in their relationship, and Sharice and Giselle say they too are in a good place. The ladies all say they are in a good place. And that's how they end there. Andy was saying, this was what he said, a highly entertaining season. I don't think so. I actually think this season was kind of dry. I would say the first season was kind of better than the second season. The second season was kind of dry, so I don't know what they're going to do moving forwards. Do they feel like they got to revamp some characters? Is everybody going to come back? Is it going to get even juicier? But yeah, that was it. They didn't do anything like no special activity to end the show. But we shall see how everything is moving forward. Should by the time I come back on, will Sharice's divorce be final? Will Ashley go ahead and get back with Michael? Will we actually get to see Monique move into the Potomac house? But I guess she moved in, or about to move in, or whatever. What would be the situation with Karen? So that is it. That is all. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for your continued support. I am announcing that I had to decided to review season 2 of the HBO hit sitcom Insecure with Issa Rae. So I am going to do the reviews on that. The season starts next week, which is Sunday, July 23rd. I think I am going to do a review of season 1 for Insecure, just to give people who maybe never watched the show an idea. But that's where we at. So stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for Car Talk with Lady Lily this week. Have a good evening.